Tonight we'll do aggregate functions. So far we've been just selecting data directly out of a website or directly out of our database. Tonight we'll start to do more in the way of analysis. We'll actually start to look at some of our data and start to really stretch out the real capabilities of SQL. So what we might look at in aggregate functions, and I'll use our video database as an example. You know how we have customers and rentals and everything's in here? We might ask ourselves, in most businesses, 20% of the customers account for 80% of your sales revenue. In most businesses, 20% of your customers account for up to 80% of your sales revenue. So those really loyal customers are very, very important to you. So we might ask ourselves questions like, which customers had the most video rentals, or which customers spent the most money? And of course we can get all the information we want and then copy it out to Excel and do everything in Excel. But sometimes that's too complicated. Sometimes it's too much data for Excel to handle. We'll talk about that Thursday when we talk reporting, by the way. So we can do aggregate functions within SQL. Aggregate functions like the sum of a field. We can add up all of the values in one of our queries or a field. So if we wanted to list I'll just type it. Maybe how many rentals everybody's had. What about which customer ID has paid the most? Here's our payment tab. Which customer has paid us, made the most payments? How would we do that? We would want to add up all of our payments. We would want to sum our payments field. This might be different than how many customers have rented more often. Maybe we have some customers who come in and only get the 99-cent movies, and some other customers who always get the new releases. When there used to be video stores, the prices were different. If you wanted the brand new movie, it was $5. If you wanted Ghostbusters from 20 years ago, it was 99 cents. If you wanted a documentary, 99 cents. So it might we might ask the question, who spent the most, but also who's had the most rentals. We could do that with count is an aggregate function. Count is an aggregate function. What if we wanted to know which customer on average spent the most? Or what is our average customer payment? Average is, of course, an aggregate function. Minimum is an aggregate function, or min. We might use the minimum function to find, it's especially useful on dates. Minimum will find you the earliest date. So we might find this customer's first rental. Of Of course, we could look up their most recent or their last rental with Max. Commonly used aggregate functions. Are there more? Of course, there are dozens. Variance, standard deviation. You can do all sorts of math right in your SQL window. You can do all sorts of math right in here. Questions so far? Nothing? When you talk about aggregate functions, we have to add a new clause to our SQL where we've been doing select from and where. We're going to have to add a new section, a new clause here. Because let's say we want to add up all of the payment amounts. So we're going to select the sum of amount from payment where, well, we don't particularly care right now. But what do we want to group our payment by? We could do this. And by the way, tonight is when I start breaking your habit of this star. Tonight is when I start to break this habit of relying on the star. I'll continue to do that on Thursday. But what fields might we want? That'll run. Our video stores made $67,416.51.
You might want it grouped by name, customer name.
Right. This doesn't give us much information, does it? So we might want to know this by customer. Oh, goodness. Aha. So we have to add a new SQL clause, which is group by. So here we can group by customer ID. And that's how we start to do these. Notice here where I only am including the fields I want. Do I care about the payment date right here? Not really. Do I care about any of the other fields in there? Who did the manager ID or staff ID? Not really. Here is something that is key. And stay up here with me on the board for this one. If a field is not being aggregated, it must be in the group line. If a field is not being aggregated here, it must be in the group line. All of your fields that you're selecting must either be an aggregate term or a group by term for your query to run properly. Look what I do here. Maybe I want to know the rentals by customer and by staff. This will throw up an error. Look here at our error message. Expression number 2 of your select list is not in your group by clause. Expression number 2, 1, 2, 3. Expression number 2, staff ID, is not in your group by clause. Everything in your select list must either be an aggregate or in your group by clause. This causes more SQL errors than you can count. So what if we put it in our group by? Now we run just fine. Questions?
So do you have to have it in the select and the group by, or just if you have it in select, you have to have it in group by?
If it's in
also?
select, it has to be in group by. You can group by things you're not selecting, but you'll get really unusual results. Like I can do, what did we decide? What's our comment?
Pound sign.
Is it pound? I can do that, but sometimes you get really unusual results. What if I wanted to whoops, wrong one. Heck with it. Here's our customers. Again, we've added up the amount by customers. And we did a little bit of this in the homework. I had you look it up or do it yourself. What if I wanted to list the customer who'd spent the most at the top? I can add a new SQL clause, which is order by. I want to order by the sum of amount. And because I want the highest listed first, what kind of order do I want these in? Descending or DESC? So now see where it says that customer ID number 526 has spent 221.55? That's my top spending customer. I don't like this field that says sum amount. This is annoying to me. That's a weird field. So I'm going to go up here and rename it. Total spent, like that. I just put a name after it in single quotes.
Can you put that alias in the order backlog?
You can, but it doesn't.
You won't change it.
Yeah, it won't. I think you can put the alias in here. Yeah, it'll take it. Doesn't do the sort though. So no. What if I want to count up their rentals too? How can I count their rentals?
Count on rental ID.
I'm sorry?
Just add count rental IDs.
Do I need to put this in my group by? Why not? It's an aggregate. It's got a count function on it. Again, I don't like its name, so I'm going to rename it. And see here where it renames that for me? Can I get each customer's average spend, their average ticket sale? What do you think? What might we want to do next?
Is there a way to make that average amount only like? since
Yeah.
Like 19?
To limit it to, yeah, to limit it to a decimal amount. Let's, yeah, and it's a convert function. Or format. That worked. Look at that. What I've done is I've said, format the average of this with 2 decimal points. Cool. In SQL Server, it's convert, and then you convert it to a data type. Based on your homework from this past week, what else might we want to do here?
Bring in the names.
Let's bring in the customer's name. This customer ID is kind of a pain. I don't know who customer 526 is.
I think you have to go through the rental table first.
So now how do I bring in customer name? Will this work before I hit F5?
No.
No.
Group by.
If a field isn't in an aggregate, it must be in a group by. This will not work. We added first name and last name. These 3 are being aggregated, and we're only grouping by 1. What's the easiest way to get all of your group bys? Copy and paste them, of course. Copy, paste. Who's not with me? You guys are killing me. It now occurs to me that I'm training my replacements in different businesses around the city. Who's typed it in but doesn't think they can go back and do it again? Anybody? It's okay to say yes.
How do you get here from
Oh, we got